Yamaha RZ500 was never meant to be a polite street bike. It was a full-fairing two-stroke V4 monster, built during a time when manufacturers were bold enough to put real Grand Prix fury into the hands of everyday riders. The shocking truth is that the RZ500 was closer to a genuine factory replica than most riders ever realized, and the engineering hidden inside its compact frame still feels unbelievable today. Before we get any deeper into what made this machine so violent in the hands of anyone brave enough to twist the throttle, do me a quick favor, hit that like button so this video gets pushed to more riders who actually care about real motorcycle history. Now let's go. The Yamaha RZ500 is a rare and wild motorcycle that tried to put a Grand Prix 500cc experience into a street-legal package. Born in the mid-80s, it was Yamaha taking lessons from the track and squeezing them into a full-fairing road bike that sounded like nothing else on the road. At its heart was a compact V4 two-stroke engine with a 50-degree V-angle and twin crankshafts. That engine layout was not a toy. It was built to act like two 250cc twins, geared together, and it screamed to an absurdly high redline in a way most four-strokes never could. The engine architecture needs to be understood to appreciate why the RZ500 feels so raw and immediate. Yamaha used a liquid-cooled two-stroke V4 with two separate crankshafts. Each pair of cylinders operated almost like its own little engine. The two front cylinders breathed through crankcase-mounted reed valves, while the two rear cylinders used cylinder barrel-mounted reeds. Yamaha did not hide the source of inspiration. The RZ500 was a road-going replica of Yamaha's YZR500 Grand Prix machine, ridden by racers such as Kenny Roberts in the early 80s. That racing connection mattered because Yamaha had already proven the V4 layout on the track. To make the wild two-stroke usable on the street, Yamaha fitted the bike with YPVS. The Yamaha power valve system shifted the exhaust timing to give a broader power band so a rider could navigate traffic without constantly hunting for a narrow sweet spot. The system and the induction choices helped make the V4 less brutal in everyday use while preserving the violent rush near redline. There were real technical choices that made the RZ500 unusual. The twin crankshaft design required gearing to drive the clutch and accessories, and Yamaha added a balancer shaft between the crankshafts to smooth the engine. The gears and bearings had their own separate oil pump, which is an uncommon feature for two-stroke engines. The top and bottom cylinder intake layouts were different, and the engineering team tuned each pair of cylinders for the best compromise between tractability and outright power. Here are the numbers that matter. The RZ500 used a 499 cubic centimeter V4 two-stroke engine, which equals about 30.46 cubic inches. The full-power International machines were rated at roughly 88 horsepower at 9,500 RPM. That power, combined with gearing, put top speed close to 140 to 148 miles per hour. The fuel tank held about 5.8 gallons, which made range modest at best, given the thirsty two-stroke running style. Not all RZ500s are the same. Outside Japan, the bike is usually called the RD500LC, or simply the RZ500. The Japanese domestic model carried the RZV500R name, and it came with higher-end bits. The RZV500R used a hand-welded aluminum frame plus lighter engine castings and magnesium parts in some builds. Those changes reduced weight substantially compared with the steel-framed International models. Official manufacturer specification sheets and respected restorers show the RZV marketed weight around 173 kilograms, which is about 381 pounds dry. The International RD and RZ are quoted with higher dry weights, often listed near 205 kilograms or about 452 pounds, depending on the source. The RZ500's chassis was unconventional. The standard RD used a mild steel box section perimeter frame. The rear shock sat under the engine in a near horizontal orientation, and it linked into an aluminum swing arm with forged rocker arms. Packaging the upper expansion chambers under the tail and in the underseat area forced Yamaha to move suspension components into unusual positions. The brake system was strong for the era, with twin ventilated discs up front and a single disc at the rear. The front wheel used a relatively small 16-inch diameter, which made steering very quick but also increased sensitivity to road disturbances and, in rare cases, could promote tank slappers when ridden badly at high speed. Making a race replica street-friendly is part art and part compromise. Two-stroke engines make most of their power in a narrow rev range, so Yamaha used the YPVS to broaden the usable band. The engine still loved RPM, and while the low end was improved, the RZ demanded high revs to release its personality. That means riders needed to shift precisely and keep the engine spinning to stay in the peak of the power curve. For many owners, that constant involvement is what makes the bike feel alive. Production and market history matter to value and availability. Yamaha built the RZ500 and closely related RD500LC in only a few model years, starting in 1984 with production ending in the mid-80s. The RZV500R was sold in Japan in limited numbers and is often described as selling out quickly when new. That brief production window and the parts complexity added to the RZ's mystique because the two-stroke street sport era was ending, and emissions regulations made future road-going two-stroke sport bikes unlikely. How the bike behaves on the road and what owners must do to keep it healthy deserve focused attention. Two-stroke engines need more frequent maintenance than modern four-strokes. Carburetor synchronization and float bowl condition affect rideability. Reed valve condition can cause hesitations and flat spots. Expansion chambers are tuned and dent sensitive, so damage changes performance. The YPVS unit and its servo motor must be checked for correct movement and accurate position. Counterbalancer and crankshaft bearings need periodic inspection because wear will introduce vibration and reduce reliability. Rebuilding a V4 two-stroke is more complex and more expensive than doing the same work on a single-cylinder or parallel twin, so owners factor that into ownership budgets. Practical ownership numbers vary, but prepare for higher running costs than a modern commuter. Two-stroke oil usage and higher fuel consumption are normal. Parts can be hunted down from specialist suppliers and salvage markets, but some items are rare or expensive. Rebuilding or tuning engines to stronger spec often involves upgraded reeds, carefully ported transfer windows, new or modified expansion chambers, and precise carburetor jetting. Skilled shops and aftermarket specialists exist for the model, and an active owner community helps with technical advice. Racing history for road-legal RZ500s exists mostly with privateer teams in club and endurance racing. The bike's direct lineage to the YZR500 meant that in the hands of knowledgeable mechanics and experienced riders, it was competitive at regional levels, especially in endurance events, where chassis balance and top speed mattered. A notable result in national and endurance competition helped cement the RZ's reputation as more than just a styling exercise. Collectors and restorers argue about which model to choose. Some prefer the steel-framed International RD or RZ for its original full-power specification. Others prize the lighter RZV edition for its aluminum frame and premium parts. The detuning applied to Japanese models to meet local regulations is reversible in many cases, but requires correct parts and careful tuning. That potential for de-restriction adds to the collector appeal of original RZV machines. Resto mods and careful upgrades have extended the life and appeal of the platform. Builders have improved braking and suspension to make the bike safer and more usable, while retaining the core two-stroke sound and character. Some high-level engine builds push beyond factory numbers, using titanium chambers, upgraded ignition, and high-quality porting and balancing to reach 100 horsepower plus. Those builds are expensive, but they demonstrate the platform's capacity when treated with expertise. If you consider buying or restoring one, start with an inspection checklist. Confirm frame material and stampings so you know whether you are looking at a steel-framed international bike or a Japanese RZV. Check expansion chambers for rust or crushing. Inspect reeds and crank seals. Verify clutch function and gearbox feel because two-stroke gearboxes can be sensitive to wear. Ask for service records and receipts. Factor in the cost of a professional engine check if you are serious about riding the bike. Look into owner forums and specialist shops for parts and advice. The RZ500 is a living chapter in motorcycle history. It brings Grand Prix DNA to the street in a way that feels raw and immediate. It will not be the quietest or most efficient machine to own. It demands fuel, attention, and mechanical care. For a rider or collector who wants vivid sound and a mechanical riding experience that refuses to be polite, the RZ500 still rewards those who study it and maintain it. How rare it is, how it performs, and how it sounds all help explain why the RZ500 remains a coveted icon decades after it left showroom floors. Thanks for watching, guys. If you love videos that digs into real engineering, rare machines, and the truth behind automotive legends, then this is your channel. Hit like, subscribe, and send this video to another rider who respects the icons. More unbelievable machines are coming soon.